So, the movie that no one asked for has finally come out. That being Toy Story 4. But, to the surprise of pretty much everyone, it's actually pretty good. I actually really like this movie. Now, while I do think it's the weakest out of all the Toy Story movies, I do still think it is a really good film, and Pixar went and showed us our doubts were wrong. I had my doubts about this movie, but they were all shattered with this. They proved themselves once again. Though a lot of people were kind of iffy about the ending of the movie. And I can kind of see where people are coming from with this, but I myself am kind of alright with it. But I do think I see where people are coming from. So let's talk about the ending. The plot in the movie is about Woody showing a spork named Forky that he can be a toy. After he throws himself out, Woody has to go and retrieve him, and he runs into Bo. Bo shows him that her life is great and he should join her, making Woody doubt if he should return to Bonnie or not, and if he can really go and save Forky. The movie ends with Woody saying goodbye to everyone and staying with Bo. It's that kind of ending that makes your eyes all wet. Now, a lot of people are saying that this ending actually betrays Woody's character. Woody is known for his loyalty. If you can go and describe Woody in one word, it would probably be loyalty. Woody is known for being loyal, and this is shown throughout all the movies. In the first movie, Woody is pretty much willing to do everything to go and get back to Andy, even if it has to mean going through Sid's house. In the second movie, he's willing to get back to Andy if he has to go in all the way across town to go and do it. And in the third movie, he's willing to go and risk everything at Sunnyside to go in to get to Andy. And his loyalty to Andy is one of the biggest things of the franchise. In the third movie, everyone else was willing to go in and turn their backs on Andy while Woody didn't want to. Even though Andy was now grown up, he felt that they should still stay with Andy instead. Now, Bonnie is a little different, and I'm going to get to her a little bit more in a few minutes, but the relationship between her and Woody are a little bit different than they were between him and Andy. Let's talk about Woody's past, though, as we don't know a lot about Woody's past. What we do know is that he's been Andy's favorite toy since kindergarten. Now, we don't know if he's been played with since then, or if he's been played with before, but we do know he's been Andy's favorite since kindergarten. And it's said that Andy is supposed to be 8 years old in Toy Story. I'm not sure how true that is, but that's what I heard. Woody is shown not to even know he has his own show. The other Roundup game people had to go and show him that he had his own show, and it was pretty big. He had no idea about this. He didn't even know he was on a yo-yo. So, it's really not known how Woody didn't know about this, as Buzz is shown to know about his own show, up to the point where he thought he was a real space ranger. And the other Roundup gangs, they seem to know about it. But why doesn't Woody? Is it some kind of malfunction that when he was made, or was he made after the show was canceled? We don't know. Furthermore, we don't know about Woody's old owner before Andy. It's often said that his old owner was Andy's father. And there is some evidence to that, because in the second movie, Andy's mother says that Woody is an old family toy. Now, you could say that maybe he belonged to his mother at one point, but we don't really know. It's often said that his father died and that it was one of the last things that he gave to Andy, which is why Woody is so special to Andy. But then, if you think it was pretty much the last thing that his father ever gave to him, he would go and keep it no matter what and still not give it to Bonnie. Even though she's a 5-year-old and doesn't really understand that, you think he would still kind of be a little hesitant to go and do that. So would that mean it'd be a divorce? Then you think that Woody wouldn't be so special to Andy. depending on how his father was to him. He didn't even show up to his son's graduation from what we know. So I always thought his father was dead. I have often seen some people say that they think that Woody might have been bought by his father, but he was in his box up until he was given to Andy. That's why he has no memories of any of this stuff. And then maybe just being in the box for so long just made him forget about his whole show. But let's talk about Woody as a character. In the first Toy Story movie, Woody is shown to be really jealous of Buzz. He's used to being the favorite and he's become pretty egotistic because of that. If anyone gets in the way, he's willing to go and make their life, well, not a living hell but in particular, but to go and embarrass them. But in the end, he finds out that he was being stupid along and that he has to go and share his playtime with everyone else. In the second Toy Story, it's all about abandonment. Woody thinks that Andy will abandon him because he's broken. His arm got ripped, so he's just gonna go and throw him away. Because of this, he has his doubts about returning to Andy, and the other toys had to go and convince him that he'll still play with him no matter what. Again, Woody comes to his senses, sees that he was being stupid, and does decide to go back to Andy. In the third movie, it's all about Andy being grown up and not playing with him anymore. And even though Andy doesn't play with him anymore, Woody still needs to be loyal to Andy. Andy hasn't shown any reason to go and get him up, so Woody thinks he should still be with him. So he's willing to go for everything, even Sunnyside, to go and get to Andy again. Then we come to the fourth movie. And this one's interesting because in this movie, Bonnie goes and makes Forky, and Woody is pretty much willing to go make sure that Forky stays her favorite toy. Let's see the Woody of the first Toy Story do that. That would never happen. And he's also willing to go and give away his voice box. One of the things that makes him, him. He was willing to go and make this huge sacrifice to go and make sure Forky goes and gets back to Bonnie. And without his voice box, his collector's value is go way down, along with his sheriff's badge being gone. Let's hope Al doesn't figure that out. But Woody has changed a lot as a character. He's grown up a lot, and his loyalty has always been a big thing of him. Let's also talk about Bo. Bo was given away several years before the third movie. And even though she was sad to be given away, she thought it was for the best, and was trying to convince Woody to go with her. But Woody knew that his place was with Andy. And the reason because of this was because Andy still wanted him. Without Woody, Andy would be very sad, but it seems pretty clear that both, at least maybe Andy, but definitely Bonnie, that they don't need Bo anymore, so she has no reason to go and stay. Several years later, she's shown to be on her own, and she's happier than ever. And even though she still misses people like Molly, she's still very happy on her own. And even then, she's still played by all the kids at the carnival. And she wants to convince Woody to go and stay with her. And Woody does have to go and think about that. Then we have Buzz. Buzz thinks he's a real space ranger. He doesn't think he's a toy, but he has to learn the hard way that he is a toy. But he does come to accept it and like it. And unlike Woody, Buzz isn't shown to really have any jealousy over Woody or any of the other toys. When Andy is playing with Woody instead, he knows that Woody has to come first. And it's probably because he's been there since the beginning of that and knows it has to be that way. I also kind of wonder if Buzz likes Andy the same way as the other toys did. He wasn't with Andy as much as some of the other toys were, so maybe he doesn't really have a connection with Andy as someone like Woody does. And he was also kind of dumbed down in Toy Story 4, it seems. he had that whole inner voice thing where he kept pressing his buttons to determine what he wouldn't and wouldn't do, and it doesn't seem like something Buzz would do in the previous films. It was just really odd. And then we have Andy. Andy is shown to be really, really attached to Woody, and like I said before, it's often said that it's because he used to belong to his father, and he needs Woody. He just can't go and give him away, which is why Woody can't go and just go with Bo. And even when he's grown up, he's really hesitant to go and give him away. But he does know he has to move on. And he knows that if he gives Woody to someone else who would care for him, that child will also be really, really happy. Even if it means going and giving away his most prized possession. Then we have Bonnie. Bonnie is shown to have a really big imagination, which is why Andy goes and trusts Woody with her. But by the time the fourth movie comes around, she's neglecting Woody. She doesn't play with him as much. Now, it's not pretty much 100% never playing with him, but it could get to that point. Within 2 years, she could be completely have abandoned Woody. And Andy was shown to be playing with Woody by the time he was still 10 years old or so. So by the time Bonnie is about 6 or 7 and she's not playing with Woody at all, you can go and see why Woody wants to kind of get out of there. He would just be sitting there for years and years and years with nothing to do. Bonnie is not Andy. She doesn't have that connection with Woody. So she doesn't really care about him as much. Now, she does have that connection with Forky because Forky is someone who got her through her first day of kindergarten. She wasn't making friends, she wasn't just having a good day, but Forky got her for all that. Just like probably Woody was able to go and get through Andy through all his problems. We have to go and talk about whether Bonnie went and broke her trust with Andy. Did she go and lie to him about taking care of Woody? Bonnie is a little girl, so she probably doesn't really understand what Woody really meant to Andy. And a lot of people are going and giving her a lot of flack because of this. But, like I said, it's just, she's a little girl, but should she have still gone and taken more care of him? And if she didn't really want him as much, should she at least have gave him away, or maybe go and talk to Andy about it somehow and say, no, you can have him back. I don't really care for him that much, and he'll be much better in your care. He's your toy, Andy, not mine. He's meant to be yours. Now, let's go and talk about Gabby Gabby. Gabby Gabby is shown to be a defective toy. She said that she was defective in the box, which means that she might not have been played with for 60 years, 50 or 60 years. And I know some people are kind of think that Gabby Gabby gets a little too much sensitivity because it's kind of like that she's trying to go and take someone's organ away and for her own good, but I guess you can go and say that it's just that not getting any love for so long made her desperate. Once she finally got her voice box, she saw the hard way that it wasn't going to be that way. Just because she has a voice box doesn't mean she's going to get loved. But eventually she does find a toy that will love her and she gets her happy ending. So let's go and see stuff from a toy's perspective. The toys are supposed to be there for their owner. It doesn't really matter if they're not being played with or not. Woody said it in the first film. It doesn't matter how much we're played with. What matters is that we're there for them when they need them. And you can go and, I guess, say that Woody's being kind of hypocritical here, but it's also pretty obvious that Bonnie doesn't need Woody anymore. So if she doesn't need him, why should he stay there? And then in the second movie, Woody is all about wanting to see Andy grow up. But in Toy Story 4, he doesn't really seem to care about Andy growing up. Once again, he's seen his kids grow up, and maybe it just doesn't have as big as an impact this time. Like I said about 10 times in this video, he had a better connection with Andy, and just seeing Bonnie grow up wouldn't have that special feeling to it. Woody is shown to go and never give up on their owner. But who said he only needs one owner? If he could go and stay at the carnival, he could make many more kids happy. He can be played with by a few kids, and when he's going and helping all those toys get given to new owners, it just makes him happy, knowing that those toys will have the same memories that he once did. So to him, it's a lot better than just being in a kid's room. As long as he knows he's making other toys happy, he feels like he's going and making a new life for himself that he can go and make out. The whole Toy Story franchise is pretty much about moving on. Andy had to go and move on from Woody, as did Bonnie. Woody had to go and move on from her old life, and knowing that her old life was a lot better. Woody is over 50 years old, so he's pretty much seen everything come and go, come and go, come and go, and he just maybe wanted a new lifestyle, just to go and see what it's like. And he sees that Bo is happy, so why wouldn't he be happy? And with this, we should talk about love. It's pretty obvious that Woody loves Bo, and he's willing to do a lot to go and be with her. And when you love someone, you're often willing to do that kind of stuff. You're willing to possibly go and move away from your other friends and family to go and be someone you truly want to be with. I'm sure that if one of the Potato Heads lost each other, if they were going to go with some other kid, they'd be willing to leave Andy or Bonnie to go and be with Mr. Potato Head and the alien toys. He did love Andy, and he loves Bonnie, but it's not the same connection, and it never will be. Bonnie will never love Woody the same way that Andy did, as vice versa. So Woody can just go and make this whole new life for himself, making other toys happy, even though it does mean he's going to leave the others behind. After all, Bonnie will be okay. And I personally am okay with the Toy Story 4 ending. I can see why people are kind of bothered by it, but to me, it's a good ending. It gives Woody happiness, it gives Bo happiness, and it gives everyone else happiness. It's just pretty much just to go and conclude the franchise and show that we all need to move on at one point, and show that we just can't have the same life. We need to do other things, and with that, we actually might still be happy and be even happier than we were before. That's what a lot of the Toy Story franchise is about. But yeah, that's what I have to say about this. I'm okay with the ending, but what do you think? Was it a terrible ending? Did it ruin the franchise? Or were you like me and were you okay with it? To me, that's just what it's all about. Who knows, maybe at one point we'll get a Toy Story 5, but until then, this is going to be the true ending of Toy Story.